Hola, ¿qué pasó? What's happening? I don't think I've done a video in like 2 months. I forget. But, at retirement age and beyond, it's fun to kind of just follow your path as it comes and not planning too much every day. I wrote songs and did an album about 2 weeks ago, and I'll do another one about in 2 weeks. So I've been writing music a lot, watercolor painting a lot for fun. Uh, it's important to stay engaged with life when you're older, but even younger, have some hobbies I hope that you enjoy besides working and just watching TV or watching the internet and all that. Slowly been reading, you can't see that, can you? The Ideological Origins of the American Revolution, Bernard Bailyn. Awesome book. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Kind of hard to read. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, and most of us aren't. So, I mean, you can't just say, oh, I wouldn't understand it. No, it's not true. You might have to go slow. And I may read this twice because I may want to try to write I may want to try to write a musical on the colonial, revolutionary, and constitutional eras. That'd be a good goal for me, having a degree in political science and having taught government and history for years in high school. What am I on? Page 282. And yeah, it stops at three. And yeah, about 100 pages left. But fantastic and interesting about, how we started and how um, local control is a lot of it. The king and parliament were across the ocean, so we got used to local control. It's one of the main things that happened, and it's hard to control another piece of land that's thousands of miles away. So that's part of it, and uh, Britain needing to pay for the 7 Years' War, and I think that began with the stamp tax, which was repealed, but still it started down the road of taxation without representation, as they say, and that was part of it. Also, religious freedom without having the nonconformists, instead of having the king of the Church of England having to okay you for not paying taxes. Okay, well, you're a nonconformist. It was basically just local control and people not being wanted. They didn't want to be told what to do by the king, the parliament, whoever, Church of England across the ocean. And when you say it's a Christian country, a lot of people that started America were not Christians, and a lot of people that were Christians were so many different denominations, many that did not like each other at all. So it was anything but unified. A lot of people came here because they were poor and wanted to start a new life, and they had no. The rich owned everything in England, or the English were running violently roughshod over Scotland and Ireland, and as well as religious freedom too. So you can say we're based on freedom, and that's important. Of course, freedom is super important. But the idea that you have to also have a community, you have to have a government and laws and policies and elections and hopefully democracy of the people, for the people, by the people. And in order to do that, you better have people that are good hearted and wise and know what's going on and know the issues. And that's what a lot of the early American founders were afraid of, that people, were too self interested, and some of them were ignorant of what was going on and could be duped by charlatans. So democracy was a scary word. Basically, an aristocracy wrote the Constitution and then argued for it, as well as against it, but eventually voted to accept the Constitution. Even though at that time, and you can say it was fantastic, and I would agree, but you would also have to say it was horrible because it allowed slavery and women had no rights. So history is a complex event, and today is a complex event. I started to read. How far am I? Oh, I don't know, 100 pages. The Bill of Rights in the states. Since the Constitution was passed, and a lot of people said that it should have had a Bill of Rights. Some of the writers of it was said, hey, that it's implicit. Of course you have these rights. But a lot of the state constitutions, the Virginia Declaration of Rights, was very important. And you can see some of the state constitutions before independence. The Declaration of Independence came from so much of that. People like to talk about Jefferson, who I guess was very, very wise, but he took a lot of that from what other people had written. The Constitution was taken from a lot of things in the past. Everything is like that. Creatures of the past. So what is this? This is October, let's see, 7, 8, 9, October 9. And a terrible storm is about to hit Central Florida. Not too long after a terrible storm hit the panhandle of Florida and then went north and just destroyed so much of Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina, and just wiped some cities off the map. Global warming, creating these superstorms, super droughts, super fires. I read something that said 1 in 1,000-year flood. And I'm like, no, man, this is global warming. Everything's changed. The meteorologist in Florida who was talking about the hurricane coming into Florida tonight, he's an older guy. He'd been around a long time, and he said he was on air, and he looked. He wasn't prepared for this. He looked, and he turned back to the camera and said, it's just dropped 50 millibars or something like that, and started crying, basically. Crying. For humanity. He cares about human beings. Global warming is real. Climate change is real. And it's killing people. And it's destroying towns. Donald Trump and the Republicans deny this fact. It's criminal. It's one of the criminal things about him in particular, whether it's sexually assaulting women and say he can do it because he's a star, or avoiding the draft saying his feet hurt and then saying he didn't like soldiers that were captured, avoiding the war and then saying he doesn't like POWs. How can anybody follow this man? How immoral it is to support somebody like this. But let's get back to caring about each other, caring about humanity, caring about this planet. I believe Trump said, you don't tax the rich. Yes, that is exactly who you tax. You tax the rich. The rich have all these lawyers and lobbyists, and they pay for the elections that we're having right now. Billions of dollars are being wasted on these elections in America because the Supreme Court's Citizens United basically opened the floodgates. So you can buy a senator, you can buy an election, you can spend $50 million on advertisement while your opponent only has 25 million. So you buy elections. We're selling out democracy. We're selling out America. The Supreme Court did a terrible injustice to the more perfect union with Citizens United and is allowing rich people to profit from it, and, which is why wealth is concentrated, the middle class is struggling, and the rich are just getting filthy rich. And some people, $200 billion. It's absurd, it's obscene, and it's just as obscene to vote for Trump, who is anything but a compassionate human being. He's as acquisitive and in love with money and power and property as anyone that's ever lived. So it's a sad time. It's a sad time. I don't want to leave on a sad note, but life is life, and I pray to whatever God is up there, or however many gods are up there, or to the hearts of human beings, that the Democrats prevail, because they know climate change is real and it's killing people, and they also know inequality is real and it's killing spirits, and we have to love each other, and we have to love this earth. That's what we're here for.